My dad always talked about wanting to be a pilot when I was a kid and kind of sparked that interest in me. Mom, she's a pilot.
They would ask me to do things like give speeches or whatever, and my peers would be like, well, you're only getting that because you're a girl. I'm like, okay. I'm also showing up, doing the work, not goofing off during the sessions.
Like a pilot's a pilot, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, and I am, and I will.
Hey guys, it's Matthew from Sling Pilot Academy. With Women's History Month wrapping up, we thought it'd be a good idea to sit down with some of our female students and talk about their inspirations, their journey so far, where they're planning on going, and some advice for you. So stick around to see how it went. So let's just start with, what's your name?
I'm Devyn Stevenson.
Hi, my name's Kayla.
I'm Tiffany Moore. I'm a CFI here at Sling.
My name is Kaitlynn Kelly, and I'm working on my IFR here at Sling.
What inspired you to become a pilot?
I wanted to become a pilot because I just really wanted to travel the world, and I thought flying myself around would be a good way to go about it, just as a career.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fun to me.
Yeah, right.
My dad always talked about wanting to be a pilot when I was a kid and kind of sparked that interest in me.
Nice.
Yeah. I also have a friend who has a plane just for fun, and he would take me up in it all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So did your dad ever become a pilot?
He did not, but he's waiting for me to become a CFI so that I can teach him.
So in 8th grade, I joined a program that my school was doing. It was based around STEM with a focus on aviation and aerospace. In that program, we did things like aviation history. We did drone class. I got my drone license.
Oh, wow, cool.
After that in high school. In high school, I also did a couple other programs. I worked in an aviation mechanic shop. I was an apprentice for an A&P. And then I also did a program where we built an RV-12. So after high school, all those programs ended, and I realized how bored I was without aviation. I got really sad without it. I applied for a scholarship to get my private's license. I was gonna go to school to be a math teacher. One of my mentors from the plane build program, he told me, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. I was like, oh crap. So I applied for the scholarship, got it, and then started flight training.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So I stumbled into aviation during COVID. I went to school to become a teacher, and I hated online classes, and I didn't want a student teach online. And growing up, I always romanticized the idea of being a flight attendant. So I figured, why not apply to a couple airlines? And I got hired at SkyWest.
Nice.
When I went to Salt Lake for training, they announced that they were bringing back their pilot pathway program, and I knew that that would be an opportunity too good to refuse, so I just hit full send, and now I'm here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What was your transition to Sling like from whatever you were doing before?
I came right out of high school, and I found Sling about a year before, but I had to graduate and get my high school diploma, so I did that, and then I did the ground school portion during the summer, and then I came here in August.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How's it been also transitioning from a job in the service industry to, training to be a pilot?
Honestly, a little easier. You don't have to deal with people as much, so that's kind of nice. You can just focus on your own thing. Everyone kind of does everything on their own pace. Really nice. People are super supportive here, really encouraging, and they love to help. So anytime I need help, I just ask somebody, and everyone's always happy to help me. So
Nice. So what was it like to move across the country to come to Sling?
So I had never been to California before. This was my first time being here. I kind of just said F it, and I packed all my shit and I moved here.
My transition to Sling was fun. I had been doing flight training out of a 141 program through college. So I was driving like an hour to get to my flight lessons. I was doing training all alone. I got my private in the peak of COVID.
Oh man.
So coming to Sling was exciting. Being around people who were doing the same thing was really refreshing. Living in the Sling housing, I was just constantly around other people doing the same thing. So it was cool.
Yeah, it's like almost inspiring to be around like so many other people that want to do the same thing as you.
It's so much easier like to stay focused, because even if you get distracted, you're talking to other people who are in aviation.
Yeah.
So it was so cool. It was much easier than doing it alone.
Again, like I had just got my bachelor's for teaching, was going to be an art teacher. and it's always something that I can fall back on. Worked in solar full time before I ended up at the airlines, which I also loved. But when I became a flight attendant and got out on the line, I just fell in love with the industry, and it just felt like I found home. Always wanted to be someone who worked my way up in a company, and pilot was just the next step.
How was it going from being a flight attendant to actually starting at Sling and training?
It was really surreal. So Guy West is partners with Sling, which is how I found Sling in the first place. And I was working a flight, and the first officer had gone to Sling. Shout out Anna if you're watching this, but she was the first person to recommend checking this out. Got off a 4-day trip, drove straight from LAX down here to Torrance, did my discovery flight with Matt. Didn't realize he was one of the big bosses here. So that was really funny. Yeah, he did not know that I was doing a discovery flight that day. And he's like, okay, take 5, go to the bathroom, and then we'll go up. And I was like, we're going up? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we taxi out, we get to the run up, and he's like, okay, do this, 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 and then you're gonna take off. And again, not expecting to fly that day, and then doing the takeoff was insane, but I also felt so comfortable. And I was like, this is the right choice.
Anna, did she have like reddish hair?
She's like blonde.
Blonde.
I want to say Anastasia is her first name.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I ask is because she was my instructor when she was here. Anastasia was a career instructor at Sling before it was even a pilot academy, when it was just a club.
She said that she had been here for like 10 years.
Yeah, she was one of my instructors when I was doing my private year.
Well, she was my first officer, and now she's a captain. Which is crazy.
What a small world, right? Can you share an experience where you kind of felt empowered or, you know, just really happy being a female pilot?
I guess when I did my first solo flight, it felt really good, because that's something I never saw myself being able to do, is just fly the plane on my own and just have that full pilot and command authority with no one else there but me, and being able to do it. So that felt pretty empowering, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah, actually when I soloed, I had a female instructor at the time. We were over in Compton. There was a lady coming in to do banner towing, which I thought was awesome. And she actually, over the comms, she asked me, she was like, oh, are you soloing? I was like, oh yeah, and she's like, oh, congratulations. And I just thought it was a really cool moment. Even whenever we left Torrance, the lady at the tower was talking to us, and I was like, wow, it's like a lot of girls in aviation today. Like, this is really cool. Thought that was pretty awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone will say the same thing, but my first solo, because I was doing so many team activities in high school, my first solo was a huge confidence booster, because you're the only one in the plane. You know that if something goes wrong, you're the only one who can fix it. So I think that boosted my confidence so much as a female pilot.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, being the only one there, knowing that I did that. Nobody else did that. That was all me.
I was celebrating after passing my check ride, and I got the cute little I'm celebrating pin, and I had them put, you know, like becoming a pilot. And that's not something that happens to a lot of people, not something you see every day. And just like standing in the queue for the lines, like you'd get people that give you a little side eye, give a little second glance, and it was really cool, like seeing the little girls in the line and being like, Mom, she's a pilot. There were a couple moms where they're like, talk to her, and I got to have a conversation with them.
That's awesome.
And it was the cutest thing ever. So yeah, that was a really special feeling.
That's really cool you're out there inspiring the next generation of female pilots.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of newer to the industry, but in maybe talking to some other people, how do you think that gender equality has changed in aviation?
In my eyes, from what I've experienced, it's very equal, and no one really looks down upon us because we're a different gender, so I'd say it's a lot better.
I think it's definitely gotten a lot better. I have heard that some female airline pilots still get like looks from people, they get comments, people saying, oh, like if a female is flying, like I'm not getting on the plane or whatever. I think that's a little ridiculous, but I do think at times it could be a benefit to be a woman in aviation because you don't see a lot of them, and I absolutely love family days whenever like little girls come up to me and they're like, oh, you fly planes? I'm like, yeah, you can too. I think that's a really sweet, you know, moment, like seeing them like realize they can actually do it. I didn't even think about being a pilot until a few years ago because I had never seen a female pilot in my whole life.
We're definitely trending up. I think Sling is a good representation of that. When I came to Sling, I think at the time it was like a 40% balance of males to females. So that was exciting to see. A lot more females nowadays. I know that percentage is slowly moving up. Yeah, it is. I'm in a lot of like online groups where it's females in aviation. So it's exciting to watch that and know that there's definitely other people out there going through the same thing that you are.
It's good to have that support.
It is.
What groups are you in?
So Women in Aviation is one of them. There's a Facebook group called Ladies in Flight Training. 99s is a good one. I'm in those groups. Things like that, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely outnumbered. For example, like one of them, she went to list for the flight deck jump seat, and the gate agent was like, oh no, you can't list for that. And she's like, no, I can, like, I'm a pilot. And they were like, no, like, pilots only. So that was maybe about 2 years ago.
Dang.
So I know stuff like that does happen. Fortunate that it has not happened to me yet, but there's a good amount of women here at Sling and in training in general right now. So I'm hoping to see the progress continue.
Yeah, totally. Dang, that's kind of...
Yeah, and she was wearing like
her uniform
and everything.
As a female student pilot, have you ever faced any kind of like gender discrimination or anything
Honestly,
like that?
no, I have not. Everything's been very peaceful. As a girl, if anything, I feel like it's a little bit better.
Okay, well, that's good. And just for the record, you've done all your training at Sling, right?
Yes,
okay.
all my hours have been from even my discovery flight at Sling.
Okay, good to know.
First small airplane I was at, Sling.
Not really. When I meet people and they ask what I do or why I'm in California and I tell them I'm going to school to be a pilot, sometimes they don't believe me. But I do have a lot of people that think it's really cool that like as a female I am doing this, or they're like, oh, I don't know any female pilots, that's really neat.
I have definitely, more so in high school, during some of those programs, they would ask me to do things like give speeches or whatever, and my peers would be like, well, you're only getting that because you're a girl. I'm like, okay. I'm also showing up, doing the work, not goofing off during the sessions. That was some of them. I think I've been really lucky with the people that I've encountered. A lot of my biggest supporters are men in aviation, people who've invested a lot into my career. I haven't faced too many difficulties with that. I feel like I've been really, really lucky with that.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like I'd be so annoyed. I'd be like, because I'm assuming you just did more work than them too.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
yeah.
that's...
Yeah, they would show up and like get yelled at for talking and like goofing off, and I'm here doing the work.
I'm like, why do you get to talk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's why my first solo was huge, because it was like, nobody can say that I just got that because I was a girl. I flew that plane. The plane doesn't care.
Yeah, the plane doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, exactly. The plane has no idea. Yeah.
I would say no. I feel like a lot of people will expect like, oh, I'm a flight attendant. But when I like go further and say like, oh no, I'm taking this to the next step, like I'm a pilot now, I haven't experienced any sort of like stereotypes yet. The way pilots look is way different than how they used to, which I love. We have more women, we have more minorities. It's great to see that kind of representation.
In what ways do you think that female pilots help shape the future of the aviation industry?
I guess with more equality, because the percentile is 95% male pilots for the airlines. Definitely more women pilots will even that out a little bit.
I think it's really cool that there's a lot more female pilots, but I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. Like, you know, you're a pilot, you're a man, I'm a pilot, I'm a woman. We both do the same thing, you know, as long as people aren't being stereotypical and stuff. Like, I don't see an issue with it. I think it's cool that we're on the same level, I guess, with things.
Yeah.
Same platform, yeah.
Like little girls seeing other pilots, other female pilots, is huge. I've heard a lot of people say, I didn't know I could do that. Like even me growing up, like I never thought about being a pilot. I never had any pilots in my life. So just going out there and being a pilot yourself, other like little girls will see that and think, oh wow, like that's actually something that you can do, is be a pilot. I know for a long time, aviation has just been like an old white man's thing. So seeing girls in aviation is one of the biggest things, is just to understand that you can do that.
Yeah.
And like you can choose that path if that's something that you want to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Jokingly, I want to say we're giving y'all a run for your money. Different people bring different experiences, and you learn from everyone you're around. So, I don't know, one flight at a time.
What are female pilots like bringing to the table for the future of aviation? Like, what do you think the impact of there being more females in aviation will be?
Like, I don't necessarily see it getting better or worse, just because, like, we're all just people, right?
Exactly. All right, I think that's a good answer.
Yeah. Like, a pilot's a pilot, you know?
Yeah, it
So,
doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl.
Yeah,
like, if you've done the
exactly.
training, if you've
Like,
got
if
the
you
skills.
have the credibility, you're there, you're good. Okay, one aspect of it, I do often see more girls than guys be type A, so it's like always like feeling like kind of stressed out about things, but that means they plan for more things, so I guess that might help in some aspects of just planning a little bit further ahead for
Overall
flying.
preparedness,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I think that it allows us to remember the women who have come before us and created like a big impact in history. I don't know, think about what the future holds for women in aviation.
I think the more that we talk about female pilots, the more that it's in people's heads. Again, the more that people see females in male-dominated fields, the more apparent it is that females can do it, and it's not just for men.
It just goes to show what amazing things women can do, and excites us for who's going to be next. Because a lot of like female pilots that have done amazing things, you wouldn't have heard of. It's usually like, oh, this guy did this, or this guy did that. It's like, no, Eileen Collins was the first woman to pilot the space shuttle, or like, yeah, space shuttles. And the first female commander of like the space shuttle like missions. Like, no one knows that. And it's so cool to think that, I don't know if I'll be the first to like do anything new, but it's possible. And it's exciting to see.
To be on the forefront of
Yeah,
it.
to be on the forefront and being in the industry, like having a front row seat to seeing what's next.
That's awesome. That's such a great outlook.
Yeah.
How do you envision yourself contributing to the legacy that is being a woman in aviation?
The legacy, well, I'll just add that little bit more of a percent of women in aviation flying for the international airlines, hopefully, so that's one way I'll impact. And just by being a good pilot, I mean, we're all just people, but I definitely will try to be the best pilot that I can be, and I'm very passionate about just helping people get to where they want to go with. I mean, I don't know about other people, but I just, like, I want to be good at my job. I don't want to just have it as a job.
I think there's a lot of women who deserve some appreciation, some recognition. One of those being Patty Wagstaff. She's my hero. She has an aerobatic school actually out of my hometown in St. Augustine. And she's done a lot of really cool stuff, given back to the community a lot. She has a plane actually in the museum, the Smithsonian Museum or something, in DC, right next to Amelia Earhart and Charles Lindbergh. So yeah, she's pretty awesome. If you don't know about her, you should research her. She's a pretty amazing woman in aviation.
So you're looking to give back to the community and do kind of similar stuff. Try
I
to
want to go to her
achieve high.
school. Yeah, after I'm done with Sling, I'd like to take
cool.
some aerobatics classes with her, do her course, and, you know, maybe get into aerobatics.
Sweet. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, just on the side, you know.
Having so many mentors and having so many people pour time, energy, and frankly money into me. That's something that I really hope to be able to give back in the future. I'm hoping to one day own my own plane, so taking up other girls flying, showing other girls that they can do it. That's something I definitely hope to do, is be able to give back to my community in that way.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I just want to be the representation that I didn't have as a little kid. I grew up in a small Midwestern city, flew, never saw a woman pilot, and never really expected that this would be an industry or a career, really anything that would be achievable for me. Like, it wasn't even on my radar. So just being able to like talk about what I do, or like going and volunteering at events and like talking to like my nieces and nephews and their friends, and just being like, oh, hey, like this is an option, where again, like I never knew this was an option. So just kind of helping the future generations realize that this is real and you could do this.
How's your training been so far?
My training's been really good. I always feel a little bit behind, but that's just in my own
I feel like
mind.
that's normal.
Yeah, it's like I always feel like I could be doing more. I should be somewhere where I'm not, but I got my private pilot's license a few months ago, so that was really exciting. And then I feel like everything's going by so fast now after that. Then I have instrument and commercial, which are the next two, and I feel like those are gonna go by so quick. And I'm working on approaches right now, and I get to do my 50 cross-country hours, and those are so fun. Get to go everywhere with those.
Except you're gonna be under the hood this time.
Right, except for I can't see outside, but
When you get there though.
when I'm there,
It'll be cool.
So true.
It's been really good, really smooth. There's a lot of little things that you end up benefiting a lot more from that free time that you have. Yeah, and just brushing up on your knowledge, sharpening it, honing it in, getting check ride ready.
How would you say the community is?
Very friendly. People want to support you. They want to see you do well. They want to share their knowledge, their tips, their tricks with you. They want to help you be the best aviator you can, which is awesome.
It's been great. Before Sling, my flight training was just me alone. I would go to my flight lessons, go home, study alone. If I had questions, I didn't really know who to ask. So coming to Sling is something I really needed, was to be around people and have the ground school classes and have the mentors, have friends who are flying as well. It made things so much smoother, so much faster, and just much more enjoyable.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that happened for you.
Yeah, definitely a lot less nights crying in bed. I didn't want to do it anymore, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Training has been a roller coaster. A lot of ups and downs that I wouldn't have thought would be like an issue. You know, it's just rolling with the punches, and as long as you're showing up and you're putting in the work, it's achievable. Got my pilot's license, of course it's achievable, but never losing sight of like, this is what I want to do. Like, you keep going.
So the passion kind of helped push you through a little bit.
They can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, there you go. So in your opinion, how is the female community and support for women at Sling as you're going through the program?
I'd say it's pretty good support, even from the guys too. They're pretty, they're pretty supportive too, just about, wow, it's so good to see some more women flying. There are a lot of organizations and groups like the 99ers, which are all very helpful in women in aviation. Those are definitely good outputs for women to get connected with the groups and yeah, just come together and, you know, be there for one another.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about before, it was so much harder to get into this aviation career before for a woman. So the women that are in it are so passionate about helping you get through, especially in these organizations. Yeah,
very true. I am about to join the 99ers group, but I haven't yet. Soon to
join
be.
them, join all of them.
Right.
It helps. Networking is huge.
Yeah, so true. I want to go to the convention they have for women in aviation next year too. I didn't make it this year because it was in Colorado, but that's definitely a goal of mine to be there.
There's for sure a lot more female aviators than I thought there would be, which is very nice. It's very comforting. It is a little weird because at the same time, like, there are more than I thought, but there's still not a lot in comparison to the guys.
Yeah, I think it's 20%.
20%.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
We don't have as many female instructors as we did when I was doing my training, but I had a female instructor during my commercial training, and she was nothing but supportive. Everyone at Sling, I feel like it's easier to find girls than if you were at other flight schools. My second flight school, I walked in the building and it was all of these frat guys. They just stared at me. They didn't like say hi. They didn't ask like what I needed. They just stared at me. That does not happen at Sling.
Yeah.
You walk into the hangar and you'll see girls studying. If you live in the student housing, you might live with some girls. I had 2 great roommates in my Sling housing, so it's a lot easier to find girls doing it. And it's encouraging to have girls know that they've got your back.
Yeah.
And they're there with you doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, everyone's here to help support you. One of the girls that I started with, we're roommates now, and like she's a bit ahead of me in the program, so now she helps mentor me on the stuff she's already done.
That's awesome.
Great people, great resources. Could not imagine going through this without them.
Yeah.
The people here help make Sling so special.
What advice would you give to other girls or women out there that are maybe kind of considering aviation?
Yeah, I'd say if you have a passion for it, definitely do it. Definitely try it out, because like statistics and numbers, they don't really mean anything. Like those could all change in 5 years from now anyways. So yeah, that should never be an issue or a doubt in your mind, because like no one else is you, so they can say that you'd be good for it or not.
Just try it out.
Yeah.
That's the only real way to know.
Yeah, like what's the worst that could happen? If it's not actually your passion, then it just helps guide you to where you should be going.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to fully commit. Take a discovery flight,
Right.
see how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say for sure, go for it, full send. It's the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. It's unlike anything you'll ever do. It's so fun. Even if you just do it for fun, just to get your PPL, like, it's completely unreal. So I think you'd be missing out if you didn't.
I'd say just go for it. Find a good support group. It helps if you have family and friends who are behind you, supporting you. If not, you can find it in aviation. Everyone in aviation wants to help. We all want to see other people succeed in it. Find a path that makes sense for you and just do it.
I would say don't be scared, literally just full send. Again, I saw an opportunity and I realized that this is too good to pass up. And I did not even give myself like a moment to pause and think that maybe this wouldn't be for me. It's like, no, if this is something I want, I'm doing it. And I'm not going to like hear any like slack from friends or family like, oh, do you wanna, like, no, I'm going to do this. And I am, and I will.
Awesome. Well, that's it for the questions. Thank you for doing this today.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Women's History Month.
Happy Women's History Month.
Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Happy Women's History Month.
Thanks for doing this.
Perfect, yeah, thank
And
you.
happy Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you're a pilot out there watching this, drop a comment and let us know what inspired you to start your aviation journey so that the other people out there can get inspired just like you were. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and we really appreciate it. See you guys next week. That only makes sense. Almost a
Don't
whole
make
dollar.
dollars though. Oh! Ah!
Okay.
Bro, I gotta. Oh man, it went away.
Everything gets amplified with the microphone.
You heard
Oh.
that burp?
Here, check this out. Watch this.
Damn, if I would have known that.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, man.